And we're live. Hello and welcome to the 190th episode of Hex Therapy Live. I'm your host, Maddie Allen. I've got a great show for you tonight. We are going to talk about how I've been falsely accused of rug pulling and basically what are the facts. I made a really long post about it today and I've got a lot of thoughts because I think it matters a lot. I've been helping some people who got scammed legitimately on Pulse Chain where, they approved a contract and somebody stole their funds. And so that's like what I care about the most is people being able to separate the difference between what is an actual scam versus, in this case, we're going to show how the math has actually played out really well for my liquidity providing thesis on Maddie token. And so we're going to go over all that. Thanks for tuning in. You're in the right place. We're just getting started. Welcome to Hex Therapy Live.
What's good, Maddie? I had a steak in today. Think I'm gonna throw a party for the Hexicans. It's gonna be live. I want you to come over, call everybody, call ATX and them. Tell them to stop through, man. It's gonna be live today. Gonna turn up for you, Maddie. And we're live.
Hey, yo, Trace, you ready?
And we're live.
We're live like Maddie Allen. We're live like Maddie Allen.
And we sticking the hex, cause you know it's the best.
We're live like Maddie Allen. We're live like Maddie Allen.
And we ripping the hex, cause you know it's the best.
We're live like Maddie Allen. We're live like Maddie Allen.
And we sticking the hex, cause you know it's the best.
We're live like Maddie Allen. We're live like Maddie Allen.
And we ripping the hex, cause you know it's the best.
We're live like Maddie.
So this has always been a channel that did a lot of deep diving into the details of cryptocurrency. And that's really important to me because that's what the audience is here for. That's the type of content that I tune in for, is where I can learn something. And so this is, down the rabbit hole for experts on what is liquidity providing, what is the thesis behind having higher or lower liquidity. Maddie token was resurrected 6 weeks ago and had incredibly high liquidity to start off. And that is part of what stopped the price from going back to $1,400 per token, which it had been previously. And so there's been a lot of thought put in to all of this. And so it's somewhat disheartening to see some people who are just parroting this untrue thing. So today I went on chain to actually look at the, basically to look at the idea that people who had thousands of dollars of Maddie token couldn't exit because of slippage. And I actually found evidence on chain of quite the opposite. So the math doesn't lie. It's all on chain. So this is not like really that debatable. The conclusions that I'm drawing here. So here is proof that lower LP liquidity providing resulted in token holders getting a more profitable exit over the past week compared to previous weeks when there was higher LP. Interesting, isn't it? And so the lie that's not supported by the facts is that traders were trapped, that Maddie token rugged. Maddie token's been declared dead 3 times, I believe, and it's not dead. So the evidence that we're looking at today is non-hypothetical. It's on-chain proof that at least, well, it was over $10,000 was gained by the holders and traders, $0 of which was me, as the price rose 614% in 3 days with just $2,400 of LP and $12,000 of volume, compared to $0 of volume in the prior day. So how do we know this? How do we know like how much was extracted by token holders and traders compared to, like what was just volume that was being bought, let's say. So how we know this is because the Uniswap V2 automated market maker math proves that it only took $1,700 to 6.14x the price. And so if we go down to the chart here, I actually had AI graph what the buy pressure required to move the Matty price from where it started when there was high liquidity at $1.14. This is a week ago. You could say 6 to 7 days ago, the liquidity was something like 40K and the token price was $1.14 with zero volume. And here this chart is showing you rounding to each dollar figure up to $20, how much is needed in a single buy order in order to push the price up. So the x-axis here is the dollar increments of what the Matty token price would be. And on the y-axis, it's showing how much buy pressure you would need in a single order. This is very important because this is explaining this is applicable to any V2 liquidity pair. And it's a function of how much liquidity is there. This chart would look different, but it would still be an X times Y equals K constant product formula, whether, if it had more liquidity. And so versus less. So the constant that you get within this equation is that if you make like an equal buy as to how much liquidity is there, then it doesn't just 2x the price, it 4x's it, because it moves as a function of a square. So that's really important because that helps define what the price is of everything in crypto. Like, it's not just what the last trade was that matters in crypto. It's how much can you get out, and what are the strategies for getting out, and what are the strategies for getting in, and what are the strategies for making something have a better market being made. So here you could see that the price on a different chart, you'd see that it had gone up to $7 after the liquidity was lowered. And so because there was more volume than $1,773, which is what would have pushed the price up, we know mathematically as a certainty how much was extracted, how many thousands of dollars of Matty was able to be sold without pushing the price down, right? Because there was more buying than selling. So, like when most people talk about a rug pull, they mean that a token's dead, it's gone to zero, and the liquidity was removed either by the liquidity provider removing the liquidity or by the insiders who own the token dumping it down to zero. So somebody could make liquidity and lock it, but then they could still access it because they have the total supply, and they could market dump basically. And that's another thing you can see has never happened in Matty token is I've never sold a Matty token, and there was no inside buying. There was also no sniping that occurred. I even have a close friend who wanted to get into Matty token, and he was kind of late because he didn't have advance notice. And so even though he was like, closely connected to me, about as close as you can get, he's the one who introduced me to Bitcoin back in like 2014 or something. Like, there was no insider treatment given, which is incredibly important. And you see that on the chart that nobody had a magic supply that came out of nowhere that they didn't have to buy on market in terms of the coins that have been bought and sold. So that's a really important chart to see what the that it would only take 4,000. Well, it's actually a little bit less than $4,000 worth of buy pressure. They would now push the token to $20. It's long been joked about that the price of Maddie token, wouldn't it be funny if it went to $20 and stayed there as like the first meme, $20 meme stablecoin. But as I've noted in my writing, it could also go to zero, just like anything else in crypto, because it's not nothing's guaranteed that the tech will work, that there won't be like, anything wrong with the blockchain. But it's a miracle that any of this stuff works. Anyway, so we know. So I said see chart about like how much buy pressure we can see. And this is all, again, this relates to any token you have. You can calculate what a buy order would do to the price chart and how much it would take for a single buy to push the price to a certain price. Now, it might not stay at that price because people who don't have liquidity in the market yet, they have what I call offline liquidity. They could dump the price down if they've been sitting on the sidelines. And that's, that happens a lot when cryptos pump. They have a drawback, and then sometimes they go higher, sometimes they go lower. So 7 days ago, you could have sold with 40K liquidity, like being in the pool, and the token price being $1.14. You could have sold with less slippage, but you got way more money with lower LP and higher price and much higher volume. So with the LP being 2.4K and the price being higher and the volume being much higher, you didn't have to sell as much Maddie, and the price at the time I wrote this was still between $3.50 and $4, which I believe it still is now. So people would have done even better if they used a limit order to get the full value and to avoid a size-based slippage fee. Or maybe people elected to pay others more than necessary out of impulsivity or laziness because they didn't set a limit order. Even market selling a shark position, which is 0.1% of the circulating supply, with slippage is better when the price is up, as it has been since the liquidity was lowered, compared to having less slippage when the price is lower. The volume makes the key difference here. If the volume ran out, then having more slippage, is going to give you a worse price, and the price, the price will stay at a worse price until people come in and change the direction of the chart, right? But as it stands so far for the past week, it's been easier for people to get thousands of dollars out, and they've been able to get more out. So that's what probably is the most important thing you can take from this, is that that it's mathematically shown on the blockchain that people have done better since the liquidity was lowered for the past week. That can't be guaranteed for the future, of course, but people who are saying that it's a scam and, like all that good kind of stuff, like they're not looking at the volume, or they're not understanding that sometimes lowering LP can be beneficial to basically sellers and holders and etc. Effectively it raises the price of entry. Getting a whale position is no longer going to be so easy as it was before. And that's a really important counterpoint to make, is that having 20,000 Maddie tokens on sale for $1.14 was not going to help the people who bought the $10 top 6 weeks ago. It's not going to help the people who bought the $5 top 6 weeks ago. It's not going to help, it's not going to help the people who are holding long term. And so you have a number of trade-offs in something like this. And so if you're not considering all the different angles, then you're just going to have this like PTSD response that says lowering liquidity bad. And like that's not the best job you can do thinking about liquidity. Okay, so ironically, people who lied or misrepresented or kind of like cast this in a negative light, people who created a false alarm, who called me names, dragged my name through the mud, called me a scammer, threatened me with physical violence. Those people are likely a huge factor in driving the price up. So the people who were calling it a rug pull weren't just wrong. They were so wrong that they potentially helped cause the outcome that they weren't predicting, which is that people would still be able to sell thousands of dollars, even though there wasn't many thousands of dollars in the liquidity pool. People were able to sell thousands of dollars and get a higher price than they got when there was higher liquidity. So lower liquidity caused people to sell for a better price, which is not typical. But that's why we're examining this, because it's not the typical LOL, it's not the standard thing, I don't think. I don't really know what to compare it to because that's not the point. So what did we learn? Thousands of dollars could and did exit Maddie token in the past week when people claimed that the token rugged, and people who sold got a higher price than when the LP was much higher. This is the opposite of what the haters are claiming. And I referenced this tweet here of somebody saying, I guess people think the accusations are justified if they have thousands of dollars of your coin. It's a token. It's not, I didn't create it, but all right. And now they can't get out without 40 to 60% slippage and a massive drop in price. So again, the price isn't just the price. I agree that it's how much you can sell for. But if you compare to when the liquidity was super high and the price was much lower, people are getting not only thousands of dollars out, but they're getting a better price. That's what's so silly about this. It's like people are getting much better prices, even if they're selling thousands of dollars. Like you still wouldn't want to sell thousands of dollars in like one limit order in one market order, but setting limit orders would have probably doubled or tripled the amount that you could get out. But you were still already getting double or triple ballpark, I assume, compared to what you would have gotten when the token price was $1.14 and the slippage was less than 10% on $1,000. Now the slippage is higher, but the price is much higher, multiples higher. Okay. Even as more people sold, there was more buying than selling. Major volatility will likely continue both up and down. Remember, Maddie token isn't set up to go higher than a 20x from $1, which is a safeguard so people don't overpay. It can go as low as the holders and market makers decide, which could be as low as near zero. Market conditions can change at any time. This is not financial advice. The goal of this post is not for you to buy Maddie. It's for you to understand liquidity game theory when so many people are misrepresenting it, lying about it, name calling, creating physical threats of violence, like all this stuff. calling me a scammer. Also, because understanding liquidity game theory is an important mechanism of how all real DeFi cryptos work. The trope that lowering liquidity is bad is one, a simplistic view and a PTSD reaction, and two, usually correct, but in this case, you needed to look at the actual numbers. The poor education of crypto users on topics like LP, as well as like private key generation, like elliptical curve cryptography, like everything that actually makes crypto work, everything that makes blockchain what it is. It's really convenient that people have poor education for the actual scammers, as well as the shite posters and the bug overlords, because it creates conditions that make it difficult for anyone to think critically about how to adjust LP benevolently. And frankly, the only people who have complained are people who don't trade the token, Maddie token, and people who are like, come on, man. Like, I saw one person who said that they had a whale position, basically, and they're like, why can't I market sell in one order? It's like, because you have a whale position. Like, what? Again, that person could have sent a limit order and could have done great with the many thousands of dollars of volume, like probably in between like $14,000 and $20,000 of volume that's happened. So there's plenty for that person to work with, even being a whale. So really, there are these like trading groups and people who just want to take a shot at me anyway, who are, they're kind of making this into a big deal. But I've also had a lot of positive feedback, a lot of people stepping up and using their critical thinking, using their brain to recognize that this isn't some scam. I'm glad people are using the transparency I love in crypto to verify public figures such as myself. Except in this case, getting your conclusions backwards can be really damaging and unfair, not just for me, but the holders who you're ostensibly claiming to help, right? So who are you helping when you're calling everybody a scammer, or when people are able to sell thousands of dollars, like just fine, but you're calling me a scammer? Well, that's kind of not really helping the people who have the token, who believe in it, who are long-term minded. All you're really helping, you're helping the traders who are day trading. You're helping them get rich and extract value. So, maybe people don't need your help in this case unless you actually did your research and had like better points. It's fine to call out scams accurately. And another thing, you don't get to tell other people how to use their money. It's called self-sovereignty, and it's a major crypto principle. So Dipcatcher has done a really good job of like posting about this recently. I don't think it was even in my threads, but it was somebody else's threads that maybe they were crying about the liquidity situation in Maddie. And didn't seem like somebody who actually held, but just somebody who wanted to cry online. Basically just people shit posting, they've been given a pretty big microphone. And, but Dipcatcher was really clear and had smart things to say from his own thinking about the fact that you don't own the LP when you swap for something. And I mean, I heard Access Live talk about that today with Papa B, DJ Cryptomatic. You know, like this isn't a hard concept to get, but I think some people, maybe they just don't have a lot of experience, and you know, maybe they've been in projects that went to zero. So here's what I can see. A dead token I didn't create regained interest. Some traders made money. Some lost money due to their own actions. I cashed out nothing. Wow, that's important. So you're hating on somebody who cashed out nothing. Wow. That's there's probably plenty of people who have you know, who can't say that about their project. The no expectation fund started farming, and LP was lowered, which had a positive effect in the past week due to high volume. And some misinformed watchers cried wolf while more buying occurred. Here's a good one. Imagine if I actually needed money to pay a dev instead of pulling that $, $$ out of my own pocket the past 3 years. Where would the money come from? How do other projects on Pulse Chain pay their teams? Because it seems like I'm getting the max hate and cashed out nothing. The only group that won so far are the traders, but as Jordan Peterson would say, that ain't nothing. So, yeah, there you go. It's just math. It's not hard. And then I also did another post here to answer somebody's question. Somebody had a question about going to Pateus and doing a test buy of $800, and at the time it would only give them $342 worth, which suggests that it's pushing the price against them like more than 50%. They say the token was currently trading at $3.83, and they're saying it would have pushed the price to $5.26, and it has over $1 billion market cap. Explain what I'm missing. So that's a great example of somebody asking a question, not immediately spewing vitriol and hate. So I answered it here. I said the current circulating supply is estimated at only 47,301 MADI, down from 88,000 MADI 6 weeks ago. That puts the fully diluted market cap at, when it trades at $4 times 47,301 tokens, at $186.6 thousand market cap. 186K, right? So 18% of $1 million. So it's not $1 billion. The greater than $1 billion market cap is related to the 369 million original MADI tokens, which appear dormant. You might wonder if the freedom to sign sacrificers might get a MADI airdrop at some point, and if that would start off locked in Time Pays Me, thus increasing the circulating supply. It would be funny if MADI became the first $20 meme stablecoin, but it could also go to zero-ish like anything in crypto. Right now, a shark position, which is 0.1% of user supply, is $230 after 15% slippage. So a dolphin position is $23. Some people are confused because they don't see how rare the circulating supply of MADI is. Read my other X posts to get more info. And then I show kind of the adjusted market cap and the slippage that you incur getting a shark position. There you go. Yeah, just words of encouragement here. What's up, Tea Time? Good to see you there. Hope all is well with you as well. Why not use V3? It's almost the same concept. Are you comparing that to limit orders? Yeah, it is very similar, and that's what some people would use. So then King Daniel is saying in his comment here, I disagree with this concept though, because the slippage will eat the price again. Oh, sorry, will eat the price gain. Removing LP will prevent selling because they're stuck due to high slippage. I'm trying to figure out what you're saying there. It's not completely intuitive, I think, that the reason why lowering the slippage but having a higher price and a higher volume causes people to be able to exit with more, even with much lower liquidity. And so, but part of the reason is because the people who are buying, if there's more buying than selling, and the people who are buying are having higher slippage, then they end up paying a higher price to the people who are trying to sell. So that's really important to understand, because as with any piece of complicated game theory, it's easy to get one part backwards, especially if you have examples from other coins and other liquidity pools where the liquidity dropped by 10x or 100x, and then the price went to zero. It just never showed another sign of life, right? So I think your comment is I can tell you're thinking deeply about it, and that's what I'm doing as well. And so where use limit order on Maddie and other PLS coins? Great question. The website is, I'm going to post the link in the description here. I love that you're asking such a great question, because that, as I described earlier, makes a huge difference in, the efficiency of how people can sell without hurting the price and get much more in this case. You get much more for doing that. So the website is called omnis.tetra.run. And it's one of the tools that was created by the 9mm.pro exchange, block scanner, etc. So there you go. omnis.tetra.run. What's up, True Blue? Good to see you there. I'm going to have to tune into the stream that I think you guys did last night, because I haven't caught up on that one yet. Yeah, when, Rug, sir? Apparently not yet. You took out the RH shout out of you. Why? The reason I did that is because when he unfollowed everybody, people were questioning the fact that I had taken up this Maddie token stuff, even though there were other people launching other coins like in the meantime. So it didn't seem like what Richard was doing was directly related to me. But it's just out of honor and out of consideration for the fact that I did not want anybody to be able to say that I was using his kind words about me being a therapist and promoting delaying gratification in Hex. I didn't want anybody to confuse that message with the other thing that I was talking about, which is Maddie token. So, yeah, I made an announcement that I was retiring that that shout out, and I've got other versions now in the loaded in the deck. But yeah, it's nobody asked me to do that. Nobody said, hey, you should do that. But it's something I realized on my own would be of high integrity. It's a good thing that you're doing this, but you owe no one an explanation, says King Daniel. It's also selfish for others not to do their own LP. Yeah, people who are calling me out are like wrong. However, I am impressed with the amount of LP that's being provided independently. So if I go, let me go to my screen here. If I search on dexscreener.com for MATI, so I can see that in the MATI wrapped PLS pair, there's 2.2K of liquidity. So that's $1,100 of MATI paired with $1,100 of wrapped pulse. And then in a different pair that has V3 set, there's 1.3K of liquidity. That's interesting. And so that counts. And then the PulseX liquidity, let me see if we can see that here. Oh, there it is. There's PulseX liquidity being provided on 9inch.io, $127. That's not much. Oh, here's the V2 PulseX liquidity of $827. So all in all, you've got about 4.2, 4.3K of liquidity, somewhere in there. So yeah, shout out to everybody who's making the market. And, that seems like a healthy amount, in my opinion, based on the idea that high slippage can be good, especially when you know how to use it. And everyone is trying to dump, so the rugged coin goes to zero. We can see on chain what the price is. Yeah, exactly, Tarnwig. Like, if the price is higher than $1.14, that's what the price was when the liquidity was super high. So apparently there are more buyers than sellers. Now that could reverse, right? And that would cause the token to swing extra low, possibly make a new all-time low. But again, somebody could have a limit order set to help prevent that from happening, or because they want to buy at a really great price. Somebody might set a limit order at below $1.14. They might set it at, some non-round number, like in between, I don't know. How low could it go? I mean, people set limit orders for all kinds of crazy things. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, if you get somebody who's like rage quitting and whatnot, I mean, yeah, you could get a price below $1. That's for sure. But whenever you set a limit order, I hear it's best to use a separate address or a separate wallet for each limit order instead of putting multiple limit orders in one address, because of how the blockchain like looks at that and is only able to execute kind of like one per block or something. A rug, says King Daniel, is when you pull liquidity and then dump the token. That's right. Or leave the liquidity alone, but you dump the token, thereby removing the liquidity that you said was locked, but it was still accessible to the token holders. So Maddie is not a rug. There you go, Tarnwig. Perfect. King Daniel. No, it's not. LMO. Am worried that when I sell, what do I buy? Thinking of grapevines. Not sure what that means. Yeah, and people who are invested in the RH ecosystem, that's where I got my money. So yeah, it's a good thing. Using V3 to provide LP is almost the same concept. Low liquidity experiment. Well, it's 3% of the circulating supply, which is not ultra low compared. And that's why I compare it to the different like dolphin, shark, fish sizes is because it could be misleading to think that oh, why isn't there $100,000 of liquidity when the price was $1.14? Because when the price was $1.14, that was higher than the entire market cap. The entire market cap was not 100K when the price was 114 or was $1.14. So, so whenever you look at whether something has low or high liquidity, which is going to matter to you a lot if you're thinking deeply about how much the price can go up and how much other people can buy at the same deal that you got, or whether they're getting a better or worse deal over time, which like you might hope that people who held longer are getting a better deal over time. But there's no guarantee of that. And like, it's, it happens based on lots of different factors, but this idea basically that I think people can be aware of is what is the ratio of tokens that are for sale in the liquidity pair at a known price versus the user circulating supply, because those users can come in and sell, and that, that could send the price down a lot, or they could hold. A lot of people could come in and buy. And if the liquidity is low, that shoots the price up. So one of the key factors here was that after Maddie token had been revived for 6 weeks, the before the liquidity was lowered, the volume was 0 for a day. So it's like, there weren't even bots trading it. And then since then, for the past week, you had these incredible opportunities to sell higher than $1.14. Even if you had thousands of dollars worth of Maddie, right? And so that opportunity might not last forever, but the fact that it ran to over $7, almost $8, is significant, because again, it meant that the market was reacting as you would have hoped. So, yeah, I mean, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to understand. It's a little bit unexpected for people who aren't thinking deeply about this, or who are used to having bad luck with tokens going to 0. So there you go. Hopefully this has been helpful to elaborate on the different things I was thinking when I was analyzing this situation. There are tons of people who've been saying really positive, helpful things to stop this this idea of all these, a couple of people crying wolf. And the other thing I wanted to mention tonight is that somebody came into my DMs who I've never talked to before, who was describing that they had been hacked, and it was another yield farming type of thing where they went and they approved a token and they wrapped their token and swapped it for a fake version of PulseX. And then the scammers were trying to get them to like unwrap it. But when I did my free chain analysis for this person to like try to help them out, they were saying there were actually 2 people who fell into this category recently, in the past week. People who, they lost a lot of money to them, and a lot of money flat out. And, talking about how it's extremely depressing to them. They might lose a marriage or a relationship over it, that type of thing. And, that breaks my heart when somebody has had money stolen from them and they, I can't do anything about it. But what I can do is I can tell all of you that you need to be using a hardware wallet, and you need to not connect your wallet to things that you don't understand. Crypto is a place, if you survive the attrition that happens and you're in the right thing, it can change your life. And but it again really breaks my heart when people have the opposite experience because they didn't understand basic wallet security. And to further emphasize this point, one user I was able to see continued to use the compromised wallet and bridged more funds in after he had already lost a life-crushing amount for him. And then that was stolen as well because he didn't, I guess he didn't have the knowledge to set up a separate wallet. He thought that the compromise had only affected the tokens that they had already taken, but it must have been some sort of perpetual approval that happened. So when he bridged in the wrapped ETH and swapped it for something and then bridged in more wrapped ETH, the PulseX and the wrapped ETH that he thought he had disappeared, moved to another wallet outside of his control. So it's really sad when I see that happening. But, you know, I've also volunteered on a couple other cases as well this week to help people who haven't looked at their hex stakes since 2021, and they're doing that whole set it and forget it thing. But they came to me in my DMs for help, and so I do my best to respond to those people. And it's just, you know, I don't accept money to help people. I just do it because it's the right thing to do. So, yeah, so it's, you know, you do what you can, but I'll tell you right now, I am an affiliate of Trezor hardware wallets. I have a link in the description. I'll pull it up now. If you have over $1,000 in crypto and you don't have a hardware wallet, to me, that's risky. And you can migrate what you have over to a hardware wallet at any time. And I would strongly recommend that people do that because the number of hacks that I hear about, it's going up. And I don't want that to happen to anybody. So I'm going to drop my link. It's the same price that you would already buy it from Trezor. But if you use my link, then I get like $5 or something. So there you go. There's nothing to sell into. Well, then how did people sell for many thousands of dollars? Is because there is volume and the price is higher. So if you don't understand the math on that, then you can go to my Twitter post or you can rewind and listen to the video. But there you go. The project, I don't actually know the name. When I did the chain analysis of the person who got scammed, it was all I could tell was that it was a fake token that had the name PulseX. But it wasn't the right contract address for PulseX. It wasn't the official token. And it was some sort of like scam where supposedly their tokens had been wrapped to enter a liquidity farm. This is not the Pulse Latina thing. This is something that has happened since then. And I don't know the name of what the scam was, but I just tracked the wallet activity and saw that this person had gotten something in their account that made it look like they still had PulseX, but they didn't. And they could have gone to app.pateas.io or pulsex.com, and they could have like looked at the balance that they had. They could have gone to gopulse.com/portfolio, and they could have looked at the balance in their wallet of real PulseX, and they would have seen that it wasn't real PulseX. Whenever you're doing some kind of yield farming thing and you don't know about it, or you're doing something new, it's always best to start with small amounts and be using a different wallet than you have your main funds in. Like you would have a whole separate seed phrase really the best thing you can do. But definitely separate addresses. But having a separate seed phrase is really a big deal. And you can make lots of different seed phrases, and it's best to make it by generating it on the Trezor device itself. But if you're not there yet, then some people create multiple different Chrome browser profiles. So on Google Chrome web browser on your desktop, you can create different profiles, and it's like a fresh instance of that app, and you can install MetaMask on 20 different profiles, and it won't overwrite what you had before. Now, you're always going to write down your seed words in 2 different places, never share that with anybody. Even if they claim to be from support, no matter who's asking, you never share your 12 or 24 words, because then somebody could steal your money. But you write down your seed words in a couple different places and keep those safe. And but yeah, you could do that for multiple Chrome extensions. And when you set up the Trezor, you pull it through MetaMask anyway. But yeah, if you're going to make another instance of MetaMask, always make sure you have your seed phrase written down before you go playing with anything. Before you set up the next one, you need to make sure your first one is secure, so you don't accidentally overwrite it. That happened to my friend who got me into Bitcoin. We were like, or he had told me about it in 2014. I didn't buy it yet. He bought it, and he ended up like spending it all on the internet. And then we went back to his account to see if he had any dust. And, you know, he could have had half a Bitcoin of dust, like, or a tenth of a Bitcoin or something. And we went back, and we were trying to open the wallet that he had before, and it downloaded a new version and overwrote the file that was already there, that probably could have like decrypted to his private key. So it's like, you like learn from the mistakes I've seen. Don't get hacked. Don't overwrite your shit. Slow down and do things right. And I see the price continues to do well. I think we've had 7 green days for the RH tickers in a row. Incredible stuff. So what? We're up like 20%, 25% since on the week. Let me see. Almost. So we're up 16% on PulseX for the week. Inc is 15% higher than a week ago. Hex is 21% higher, and PulseX is almost 13% higher than last week. On the day, you've got a 2 to 5% increase between all those. So there's my referral link to get a hardware wallet from Trezor.io. Okay, then Igor is saying, pretty much everybody that creates and removes LP are scammers, unless they use it benevolently, like buy and burn or something. That's an interesting point. Now, Matty Token does have a previous LP provider that is yield farming, and so you know, you can check out videos of people speculating that something like that might happen, but I cannot give you any expectations or promises, and it's unknown whether something like that will happen. But there's a good Your Friend Sami video that came out. You can learn pretty much all the alpha. If like you want to be fully up to date, what you would do is you would join this Telegram room or this channel that I post in about once a day, sometimes 3 times a day. is t.me/smartvaultme. I just put the link in the chat. But if you want to see like the Your Friends How Me video I'm talking about, where he's like speculating on what might happen, that's out there. Bit Finesse, good to see you there. RH was called a scammer, so was Vitalik. Was Satoshi ever called a scammer? Also, if you keep pulling the liquidity after every 10 or 20 cent move, will the coin just pump forever? Question mark. Yeah, RH is not a scammer. I don't know why they don't call people who like sell their own token scammers. Like pretty much every founder, just about. So I haven't sold, RH hasn't sold. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. If you keep pulling the liquidity after every 10 or 25 cent move, will the coin just pump forever? No, not on that alone. Most coins and tokens have about 0.5% to 5% of their total supply in the LP pool at a given time. There are some tokens that have like way less, some that have more. Like Ink has, I think, almost 30% or 35% of its total supply in liquidity. And that's partially due to like the farming rewards and whatnot. So that's important. People put their PulseX in to get Maddie. Yeah, they swapped it, so it's not their PulseX anymore. And then the PulseX was removed, correct? And well, not there's still liquidity there, and now those people can't sell without a massive loss. Well, the price being so much higher than $1.14 actually does mean that people can sell without a massive loss compared to what the price would be if the liquidity was not removed. And this is the point that you don't seem to be understanding that is well detailed in my post and my earlier parts of the stream is, you know, there you go. And then I want to further highlight the point that if somebody did want to develop something, then, you know, these traders, they would just tell you like, too bad. Like all the traders want, they want to click a quick flip and then they want to move on. They don't care about anything getting built, anything getting funded. Like, and that's not even the case of what's happening here. So it just seems extra ironic to me that like the traders are absolutely the only ones that have benefited from Maddie token. And they seem to be the ones complaining, which is like, it's backwards. I should be calling the traders scammers, right? Because they didn't build anything and they think that everybody else's money is theirs. And that's a really like sick, misguided way of thinking. And, you know, so this is Hex Therapy Live. I'm going to tell you how it is. If you can't tell the difference between your money and somebody else's money, then you're not very good at crypto or blockchain, because part of the whole idea is self-sovereignty over money. So people can sell without a massive loss. It's called a limit order, and we talked about it earlier. Asked and answered. There's my Telegram group, Smart Vault Me. I didn't get involved, but I can understand why participants are upset. Well, then help me understand, because people can sell people can sell for more now than when the liquidity was higher. So it's, yeah, I guess it's hard for me to understand. All I hear is traders who are crying and people who didn't buy the token who are crying, and the people who did buy the token seem to be better off. Unless you bought at the all-time high, but then it went back to almost the all-time high yesterday or the day before. So you had an opportunity to buy at less than $1. You had an opportunity to buy at $1, $2. It went to $7 a couple days ago. So even if you had $10,000 of Maddie token, you could have sold for many thousands of dollars. Not $10,000 worth, but way more than when Maddie was 6x lower when the liquidity was higher. So like the number on the screen is not the number that you can sell for. The number you can sell for is what you can sell for. But the fact that the liquidity was lowered caused more buyers to come in and be more interested because there's higher volatility. So the life got brought back in. It's a Maddie token and people are complaining about it. And it's like, well, it doesn't benefit me. So like, whatever. What's up? Thanks for the algo help there. I love it. You're right. We need to celebrate and focus on the builders. Smart trading is the name of the game as of now, but yeah, focus on the builders so that you traders can still trade in the future. Exactly. Well, we just crossed an hour. I hope this was teaching people something. We got tons of people watching on X and several on YouTube. Remember that we had some great streams today with What the Hex show, Access Live, Papa B, DJ Cryptomatic, and Toby One Hexobi. You can check that out on YouTube. Also, I saw Hexologist streamed. I haven't caught that one yet. I just came in at the end. And then you also got Cultivate Crypto. Charlie did a stream today, as well as there's one other one. Anyway, go check out all these amazing streamers. Whitney Magic has put out some positive streams lately. All kinds of stuff. So if you want to know about ink, you can read what I wrote. That's it. All right, there you go. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Next week at this time, I'm going to be at the Bitcoin conference. And I'm going there and I'm going to be talking to lots of people who are not in Hex and Pulse Chain yet. I'm going to be talking to them about Pulse, PulseX, Ink, Hex, all that good kind of stuff. So there you go. And then on Tuesday, we're still doing Game Theory Gang. This is the 190th week in a row that I have done a live stream every Tuesday and Thursday night without fail. So there you go. That's all we got. And until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.